If you're reading this, you already know something's wrong. I felt it before I saw it, and maybe that's why I'm still alive. The world didn't end in a blast, or with sirens. It started with my coffee tasting burnt, even though I used the same beans, the same Keurig, the same morning playlist playing through my busted Alexa speaker. My name's Mason, I'm 27, and I live in a basement apartment outside Columbus, Ohio. I've got student debt, a job I hate, and a fridge full of expired yogurt. But that morning, even the mold on the yogurt felt like it was watching me. That's the only way I can put it, like the whole world was holding its breath and I was the only one who noticed. My neighbor, Mrs. Ramirez, usually waters her plants at 8 o'clock sharp, but today she was at her window just staring at the street, clutching a dish towel with both hands. I wanted to wave, but she didn't look over. I heard her cough, just once, sharp and low, and for some reason it made my skin crawl. There was a military van parked outside the gas station across from my building, not the regular National Guard truck with a couple of bored guys. This one was black, unmarked, just idling. I stood at my window and watched a man in camo step out, look up and down the block, and get back in. They didn't buy gas. They didn't talk to anyone. They just sat. I wondered if I should text someone. I didn't. I went out anyway. I had to. My boss, Lisa, would dock my pay if I was late again, and she'd definitely mention it on Slack in that fake friendly way she has. So I did the routine. Hoodie, keys, wallet, backpack, earbuds, trying to drown out the feeling that I was walking into something I couldn't see. Down the block, past the military van, past the pizza place that still had the old "now hiring" sign, and then that's when I saw it. Blood on the sidewalk. Just a little, like someone had cut their finger and tried to clean it up with a napkin. I looked for a Band-Aid, a wrapper, anything, but there was nothing. Just a brown-red streak leading to the alley. My phone buzzed, but when I checked it was only a weather alert. Something about high winds, nothing about blood or men in camo. I took a picture anyway, thinking maybe I'd post it on Nextdoor as a joke. Y'all, vampires in the alley again. But when I tried to send it, the app crashed. I shrugged it off. If this was the start of the end of the world, it sure felt boring. I went to work, but everything was wrong. People coughing everywhere, like the air itself was infected. My friend Eric texted me, "Bro, did you hear about the quarantine in Jersey?" I laughed it off, but then he didn't answer my next message. I tried calling Mom, just to hear her voice, but it went straight to voicemail. At the store, customers argued about toilet paper. The local news said it was nothing, just a bad flu season. Don't panic, stay hydrated. The national news was worse, contradicting itself every hour. Twitter was a mess. There were rumors about people collapsing in a mall 2 states over, some kind of viral video that kept getting deleted. I started checking the door to my apartment twice when I got home, deadbolting it. I checked the window locks. I called Eric again. No answer. That night, I heard screaming. Not a TV, not a party, real screaming. I looked out the window. The street was empty except for Mrs. Ramirez, who was now standing in the middle of the road, barefoot, still holding that dish towel. She looked up at my window. I swear to God, her eyes were red, and she mouthed something I couldn't hear. Then she collapsed. I ran to call 911, but my phone was dead. Not low battery dead. No signal, nothing. I checked my laptop. No internet. My whole building felt cut off from the world. I tried to tell myself it was nothing, just a blackout, just a weird night, but the screaming kept coming. Further away now, then closer, then gone. I waited for the sunrise, gripping a baseball bat in one hand, phone in the other, staring at the door like it might explode. I wanted to call Mom again, but I couldn't. I checked on Mrs. Ramirez at dawn. She was gone, but the dish towel was still there, soaking up something that looked like blood. That's when I started pushing furniture against my door. Not everyone believed it, but I did. Something was happening. Something none of us were ready for. The first thing I did when I woke up was check my phone. Still dead. I tried the charger, tried the wall. Nothing. No Wi-Fi either. No power at all except a weird flickering from my neighbor's window across the way. One of those camping lanterns. That's when I realized how quiet everything was. No traffic, no garbage truck, not even birds. I almost convinced myself I dreamed it, but the furniture stacked against the door, the bat in my lap, and the dish towel with that dark stain reminded me I was awake. I sat there listening for footsteps, but the only sound was my stomach rumbling. Even the refrigerator had gone silent overnight. I thought about Mrs. Ramirez and tried to remember the last thing she said to me, but all I could think of was the way her eyes looked through me, not at me, when she collapsed in the street. I was starving, so I microwaved one of those plastic breakfast bowls, only to realize the microwave was as dead as everything else. I ate it cold. It tasted like chemicals. I was halfway through when I heard the front door of the building slam hard enough to rattle the dish. My heart hammered. I grabbed the bat, barely breathing, and pressed my ear to the door. More footsteps. Heavy, dragging, and then I heard the voice I didn't expect. Eric. "Bro, Mason, you in there?" I almost didn't answer. My voice came out small. "Yeah? Let me in, man, please. It's bad out here." I moved the chair away, opened the door an inch, and saw him standing in the hallway. He looked like hell. Sweat, dirt, blood on his hoodie. His face was pale and his hands shook. I pulled him inside and locked the door. "What happened?" He took a second, hands on his knees, catching his breath. "They're everywhere, man. I saw people. I saw my neighbor get bit. He turned, right there, like his brain shut off, and then he started attacking." I ran. I didn't want to believe him, but I couldn't ignore the fear in his eyes. He wouldn't meet my gaze. "Did you get bit?" He shook his head, but I checked anyway. No wounds, just a scrape on his knuckle. I wanted to hug him, but we just stood there, breathing heavy. He was my oldest friend. He helped me move in, always brought beer on game days, texted me memes at midnight. I wanted to make this normal, but nothing was normal. The teams played, and before long, my feet popped. This was my first deployment. There were so many things. We spent the morning checking the window. Across the street, 2 people in pajamas were banging on the door of the gas station. I watched as a figure staggered out, shirtless, wild-eyed, covered in blood. The couple froze. The bloody guy didn't even pause. He launched himself at them like an animal, teeth bared, no hesitation. They all crashed to the ground, and I swear I saw a chunk of flesh fly. Eric started gagging. I pulled him away and shut the curtain. "Don't look," I said, but my hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the bat. We started barricading the door better, moved the dresser, took down the shower rod and wedged it under the knob, stacked textbooks in front of the windows. Every sound outside made us freeze. The infected, whatever they were, kept coming. We saw them smash through the pizza place, rip down the now hiring sign, even tear into the military van. No one inside shot back, just screaming, then silence. We tried the radio, static, then just for a second a voice. "Stay inside, do not attempt to leave, shelter in place." It crackled and faded, but we heard it. That was all we needed. Eric wanted to run, but I told him no, not yet. I started writing down everything I saw, like if I could just keep track, I'd stay sane. Rule 1, barricade. Rule 2, don't trust the quiet. Rule 3, if someone looks sick, don't let them in. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. We heard banging from the upstairs apartment, real heavy, like someone was using a sledgehammer. Eric wanted to check, but I said no. Then a voice we both recognized screamed our names. It was Mrs. Ramirez. I stared at Eric, and his face went white. The door above us exploded inward, and the noise was so loud I thought the ceiling would collapse. Mrs. Ramirez, what was left of her, stumbled down the stairs, face smeared with blood, mouth working like she was chewing something that wasn't there. She moved too fast. Eric tried to open the back window, but it was stuck. I grabbed the bat and faced the door. She hit the barricade so hard the dresser slid. She clawed at the wood, leaving bloody prints. Her eyes met mine. There was nothing left of the neighbor who used to bake me cookies. She screeched, a sound I'll never forget. I swung the bat through the gap in the barricade and hit her arm. She didn't stop. Eric finally forced the window open, and we both dove through, landing hard on the gravel outside. I heard the front door splinter, heard Mrs. Ramirez's footsteps coming for us, but I didn't look back. We ran. We didn't have a plan, just away from the screams, away from the blood, away from everything we thought was safe. The street outside was chaos. Cars crashed into each other, people running, bodies everywhere. Some of them were getting up, some were chasing the living. Eric grabbed my hand, pulled me behind a dumpster. "This isn't about a virus," he whispered. "It's something else. They don't die, they just change." I nodded, but I wasn't really listening. I kept thinking about Mrs. Ramirez, about how I'd seen her collapse and thought maybe she was gone, but she came back. They always come back. That was the moment I knew. None of the old rules applied. This wasn't just about infection, it was about survival. Everything we knew about life, about death, about trust, gone. I looked at Eric. He looked at me. We were both shaking. And I realized, for the first time in my life, I had no idea what to do next. I'll never forget the sound of the city tearing itself apart. Sirens wailed somewhere far off, but nobody was coming to help. The sky was a flat, empty gray. I remember the taste of sweat and old panic in my mouth, the gritty dust sticking to my teeth as Eric and I crouched behind the dumpster. Every scream felt like it was aimed at us. We waited, but you can only hide for so long before you have to move. I could feel the silence creeping in, heavy as a blanket, threatening to choke us. I wondered if it would be easier just to let go, to stop trying. But then I remembered Mom and how she used to say, "You keep going even when you think you can't." Eric started to crack. "We need to get out of the open," he said, voice shaking. I nodded, but my brain was spinning. The only safe place I could think of was the hardware store on Main. Heavy doors, maybe some supplies left, and nobody would expect survivors to hole up there. We sprinted for it, darting across the lot as a group of infected stumbled after us. My legs burned, lungs screaming, but adrenaline kept me upright. Eric slipped on a pool of something dark. I don't want to know if it was oil or blood, and I grabbed his arm, yanking him up. "Don't look," I kept telling him. "Don't look, just run." We got to the store. The glass doors were smashed, but the metal security grate was half down, jammed. I crawled under first, dragging Eric behind. Inside it was pitch black except for the dusty sunbeams slicing through the windows. Shelves were overturned, paint cans rolling on the floor. I found a hammer, gave it to Eric. I kept the bat. We both breathed hard, wild, eyes darting. I could see my reflection in a wall mirror. Sweat-stained, red-eyed, not even sure I looked human anymore. I didn't see a door in the wall. We used rope and metal rods to jam the door as best we could. The world outside felt far away, but not gone. We heard scratching at the grate. Something pressed its face to the metal, making wet, choking sounds. It didn't look right. Gray skin, black veins, eyes gone white. I wanted to throw up. Eric gripped the hammer like a lifeline, staring at the floor. "If it gets in, we kill it," I said. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. We split a bag of chips I found under the counter, barely tasting them. My hands shook. "You think anyone else made it?" Eric asked. "You think our families?" I couldn't lie. "I don't know. I hope so." After an hour, the scraping stopped. We tried the radio again, but only caught a sliver of a voice. "If you're still alive, stay quiet, trust no one." Then static. Eric started to cry, shoulders shaking, so I told him a story about when we were kids, how we got lost at the county fair and found our way home by following the sound of a marching band. For a second, we almost laughed. Then something crashed through the window in the back. Man, bleeding from the leg, stumbled inside. "Please, help me. They're coming," he begged. I wanted to help him, but I saw the bite on his arm, the pulsing black veins already crawling up to his neck. Eric looked at me, eyes wide. "We can't let him stay." I shook my head. "He's already gone." The man sobbed, begged. For a second, I almost gave in. But then he lunged at us, eyes rolling back, mouth open, teeth bloody. I swung the bat as hard as I could. Eric screamed. The man hit the ground hard. He didn't get up. We dragged his body to the back, barricaded the door with anything we could find. My hands were still shaking, but I knew this was survival now. No more rules, no more mercy for strangers. Every choice had a price. The store was no longer safe. More infected began to gather outside, banging and moaning, hungry. One of them was a kid in a Little League jersey. I stared at him for too long, and Eric had to pull me away. We grabbed what food and tools we could fit in a backpack and smashed our way out the back window. The alley was chaos. Sirens, gunshots, smoke. A car burned at the end of the block. We ran. I don't know how long. At some point, Eric started limping. He said he was fine, but I saw the blood running down his calf. "Show me," I said. He pulled up his jeans. There was a deep gash, not a bite, but already looking bad. We tore up a shirt and wrapped it as tight as we could. "You're not leaving me," he said. "I won't." The world was burning around us. I saw families trapped in houses, people pounding on windows, begging to be let in. I saw someone I recognized, my old landlord, screaming as he tried to hold off 3 infected with a shovel. We couldn't help. We kept moving, kept hiding, kept fighting. At some point we found ourselves on a hill above the city, watching as the smoke rose, as the sky turned orange. Everything was different now. I felt it in my bones. I wasn't the person I was yesterday. Eric wasn't either. We kept walking. Into the unknown. There was no plan, no hope, just survival. The old rules didn't matter. I didn't know if we'd see another sunrise, but I knew I'd keep going. If that's all anyone could do now,